Hello, this short little video will be an introduction to labor economics. So what is labor economics? It's quite simply the study of labor markets, looks at work and pay in labor markets. We'll look at the behavior of employers and employees. How do employers and employees respond to incentives in regards to wages, prices, and profit? One of the big things about labor economics is there are many government policies and regulations that affect labor markets, from the minimum wage to trade, outsourcing, government mandates in terms of compensation packages, insurance, health insurance, and so on. Why is labor economics special? Why is it a subfield in economics? One is its quantitative importance. Almost everybody is going to spend some part of their life in the labor market, okay, renting out their services to firms. Labor is also, in terms of national income, it receives roughly 70% of the national income generated in the production of goods and services. Labor is also special because labor is embodied in the seller. Where capital is a thing, capital doesn't care about working conditions or autonomy, but labor cares about those things. Another reason why labor is special. Another thing special about labor economics is labor is a derived demand. The demand for video games is derived from the fact that buying video games and playing them brings utility and enjoyment. But from an employer's perspective, just buying labor or renting out labor services doesn't bring any utility or enjoyment. Firms demand labor because labor produces something useful, a good or a service that the firm can sell. So there is a difference here between labor demand and the demand for many other things, like video games and going to a concert or a movie. Why is labor economics special? We alluded to the fact that many public policies have an effect on labor markets. Americans with Disabilities Act, like I said, the minimum wage, living wage ordinances, and so on. Some assumptions of modern labor economics. One assumption is scarcity. We live in a world of scarcity. We can't have everything that we want. So as a result, we have to make choices. We have to optimize. Second major assumption is that people face trade-offs, okay, between income and leisure. If you want more income, well, you can work more hours, get a second job, and that means less leisure, or vice versa. If you want more leisure, it means working less. And there's also this trade-off between present income and future income. Going to school, getting training will come at the expense of lower present income with hopes of getting higher future income. Another major assumption is rationality, the idea that people are rational, people's behavior is purposeful, people do the best with the information that they have by weighing the benefits and cost of different activities and choosing things that provide more benefits and cost. Another major assumption is just adaptability. People respond, rational people respond to changes in incentives and cost. If getting a college education is more rewarding in terms of higher pay, better job matches, and so on, we'd expect that more people would want to go to college, for example. So people adapt, people respond to incentives. The labor market. There are three key actors that affect labor markets: workers, and here I'm just saying, workers maximize well-being. So the basic goal of workers is to maximize utility, maximize well-being, and workers supply labor. The other major actor is firms. Firms demand labor. What is the goal of firms? Is to maximize profit. And then finally, government. Government policies, laws, regulations will affect labor markets. And in terms of motives here, I'm just going to write political motives. Right, one thing to consider is that kind of three main markets here: labor markets, capital markets. By capital, we mean machinery, tools, equipment, computers, and so on. And then the product market is where firms sell their goods or services. All these three markets are interrelated. So first, labor markets. Changes in demand and supply will affect wages and employment in labor markets. In capital markets, changes in demand and supply, the price of capital goes up or goes down, that will also have an effect on labor markets. Okay, so if the price of capital falls, firms will want to use more capital and less labor. On the other hand, if the price of capital falls and maybe capital and labor are complementary, firms will want to use both more labor and capital. So we're going to look at that stuff in more detail as we progress through this course. And then, of course, product markets. Changes in the demand for a product or a supply of the product will affect labor markets as well. If a product is suddenly very popular with consumers, firms are going to want to produce more. That means firms are going to want to hire more labor. So product markets will affect labor markets.